Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Cloris Kylie, author of Beyond Influencer Marketing. Cloris, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here.
Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Well, Paul, it's easy to get distracted as you're writing your book with, how you're going to market the book and the cover and the design and all of that. But I'd say focus on getting your first draft done. Just get that done first. Have a project plan so then you know exactly what to do next. And that way you'll get your book completed and then market it the right way.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, the hardest part is really to manage all the pieces. I would say in my case, I was launching my book, also a podcast based on the same topic, and a group coaching program. So it was hard for me to manage all these pieces. But regardless of whether you have this or not, you have to keep yourself organized with a tool such as Asana, right? Know exactly what activities you can outsource to a VA, to only spend your time on things that really need your brilliance, and that will help you succeed.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Well, I would say a big element that helped me with my book and to make it a bestseller was my book launch team. So I would say you definitely have to have a launch team. When you launch, now I'm relaunching, so same story, I have a relaunch team. And these are people who really care about your message and your book. They're excited about it, and they will be the first people to buy the book, to post reviews, to share it on social media, to really be advocates of your message. So it's never too early to start thinking about who could be on this team, but don't start the team until it's close to publication date. So I would say 3 weeks prior to publication, you can get people together, start talking about the launch. But think about right now, who could be on that team, and then give them specific actions. For example, today we're going to share on Facebook. Tomorrow on LinkedIn, this is a blurb you can use. Make it as easy as possible for them to help you, and you will see how your book becomes a bestseller. Really, just try to spread the word, and also to, of course, for them to write reviews.
And you mentioned this is actually going to be a relaunch that you're doing. So what are some of the reasons that you wanted to do a second edition of your book?
Well, first, a few things have changed. Since I talk about influencer marketing, I had gotten a lot of questions about Instagram influencers. Like, is that it? Is that what I have to go, through when I work with influencers? So I wanted to clarify that. A few links in the book were outdated. So I figured, why not take advantage of all these changes I'm making and really do a whole relaunch, really, to let people know about my message again. Because if you think about it, when you publish a book, it's been a year, yes, you still have some sales, but the whole excitement of the launch has subsided. And this is a perfect opportunity to bring the book back to life, to share the updated information, and to really get people talking about it again.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to ask, what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
One of my favorite books is The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and David Mann. I believe that's his last name. This is a parable, really. This is a story of how when you deliver value, and that's your motivation to interact with people and to do your work, then you see great success. And we have always heard that before, right? But when you read this book, you will really see it. You will really internalize it. And that's actually the philosophy in my book. So I found that it really resonated with my beliefs and my message. And Bob Burke, the author, has become a good friend, so I completely recommend it.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Well, I have a quote. I really don't know who said it, but it says, "People buy not because they understand what you sell, but because they feel understood." And I always keep that in mind when I'm promoting my book or my courses, when I'm talking to somebody. I want to really listen, because once they feel understood, then you can help them. So it doesn't matter what you sell, doesn't matter what your message is, just aim to understand people. And that's the first step to really help them.
Well, Cloris, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
You can go to ClorisKylie.com, and if you go to ClorisKylie.com/influencer, then you will have a chance to download my guide with 15 ways you can get noticed by influencers. So see you then.
Cloris, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.